Hey guys, I am back with another video, and today I am doing my winter reading challenge. So this challenge is brought to you by the public library, the library station in Springfield, Missouri, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 books here that I'm going to show you. So let's get started. The first book is a book that came out a few years ago, and it's made into a movie, and a lot of people have been talking about it on BookTube a few years ago, and that is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. And I loved this book when I first read it, and I still love this book. This book is about a girl named Madeline, and she has an illness named Skid, and she isn't allowed to go out of her house, and her mother takes care of her, and she has a nurse named Carla. And one day she goes out of her house and she meets this boy that moves in next door to her, and they develop feelings for each other. And it follows her and this boy that develop feelings for each other, and her mother so this book was so good. Like, I loved it when I first read it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Like, I loved it. Everything about it. The second book that I have to show you. The second book that I have to show you is one that was turned into a movie recently. And it is 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott and Mickey Daugherty and Tobias Iconis. Now, I went to the movie theaters with my god sister, and we seen this movie, and I loved it. I haven't finished the book yet, but this follows a girl named Stella and a boy named Will, and they both have cystic fibrosis. Will has an illness. It's like cystic fibrosis, but it's another illness. I don't know what it's called, but they are not allowed to be too close to each other. They gotta be 5 feet apart from each other, or they will catch each other's illness and die. So it follows them two falling in love, and it follows them two going out and yeah. The next book that I have is Dashing Through the Snow by Debbie McComber. and you can see her on the back. I don't know much about this book, so I'm going to read you the synopsis. Savor the magic. Ashley Davison, a graduate student in California, desperately wants to spend the holidays with her family in Seattle. Dashiell Sutherland, a former Army intelligence officer, has a job interview in Seattle and must arrive by December 23rd. Though frantic to book last minute flight out of San Francisco, both are out of luck. Every flight is full and there's only one rental car available. Ashley and Dash reluctantly decide to share the car, but neither anticipates the wild ride ahead. It sounds like a good Christmassy, wintry read. So this book is good for like the winter Christmas read. So I would recommend you read it for the Christmas/winter. This next book that I have for you guys is one that I hated so much. Like, I hated this book. And that is Long Gone Daddy by Helen Hemphill. I hated this book so much. I'm going to read you the back of this book. At times rockin' hill, at times bittersweet, this story of Harlan Q's journey from Beans Creek, Texas to Las Vegas, Nevada is all about the mystery of fathers and sons of an ancient prophet in a new body of love, both conditional and not. There's Stanley, I don't know how to pronounce that, and India Opal, and now there's Harlan Q's Stank. Yeah, so that's a little synopsis of the back of the book. It didn't really tell you much, so that was not really a good synopsis of the book. So, yeah. This next book I've heard of mixed reviews of on BookTube, and that is Delirium by Lauren Oliver. Excuse me. I heard that this was a book about love being a disease, and that's all I know about this book. I heard that it was good, and that's all I know, and that's all I'm gonna say. This next book that I have is called The Help by Catherine Stockett. I don't know anything about this book, and I don't want to know anything about this book. So, I'm gonna read you the synopsis. 22-year-old Steeker has just returned home after graduating from Ole Miss. She may have the degree, but it's 1962 Mississippi. and her mother will not be happy till Skeeter has a ring on her finger. Skeeter would normally find solace with her beloved maid, Constantine, the woman who raised her, but Constantine has disappeared and no one will tell Skeeter where she has gone. Abilene is a black maid, a wise, regal woman raising her 17th white child. Something has shifted inside her after the loss of her own son, who died while his bosses looked the other way. She is devoted to the little girl she looks after, though she knows both their hearts may be broken. So that is the synopsis of the book. Oh, I'm tired. I'm really looking forward to loving this book, and I really hope I do. This next book that I have for you guys is one that's a think about Black history, and that is All American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Keeley. And this says, well, no, actually, a lady tripping over Rashid at the store making him drop a bag of chips was what started it all, because it didn't matter what Rashid said next. That was an accident. That he wasn't stealing. The cape just kept pounding him over and over, pummeling him into the pavement so that Rashid, an ROTC kid with mad art skills, was absent again and again, stuck in a hospital room. Why? Because it looked like he was stealing, and he was a black kid in baggy clothes, so he must have been stealing. And that's how it all started. So this is about a kid who actually accidentally got knocked into, and the lady who knocked into him thought he was stealing, and he got locked into a hospital room. And because they thought he was stealing. So this is a really good book for Black History Month. I would recommend you read this for Black History Month. This next book that I have is actually written by a former president and one of my favorite authors, and that is Bill Clinton and James Patterson. And you can see them both on the back of the book. I'm going to read you the synopsis. The president disappears. The world is in shock. But the reason he's missing is much worse than anyone can imagine, with details only a president could know and the kind of suspense only James Patterson can deliver. So So it doesn't give you much of a synopsis, but it sounds really good because, of course, James Patterson can write a really good book. I mean, it's James Patterson. If James Patterson could write a really good book, then he can write a really good book. This next book that I have is one that a lot of Star Wars fans will love, if you're Star Wars fans. And that is Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga by Delia S. Dawson. And it doesn't give you a synopsis. So I don't know what this is about actually, but I am not a Star Wars fan myself, so this is one that's out of my comfort zone. And I don't really read Star Wars, so I'm not really looking forward to reading this, but I got it for the winter reading challenge, so I'm reading it just for that, but I'm hoping I like it. This next book that I have is called Lighter Than Your Shadow by Katie Green. And this book is about a girl named Katie Green, and she has an eating disorder, and she goes to this place and she meets this man, and he's like a healer, but every time he lays her down and relaxes her, he starts touching on her. And yes, there is trigger warnings for sexual assault and eating disorders in here, so just be aware of that once you go into it. This really teaches you about eating disorders, and it's a really good book actually. And that is all my books that I have to show you. I hope you enjoy, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.